What's it like when your oldest sibling is 26 years older than your youngest? For Kevin Costner's 7 children family is a complicated word. Spanning 3 decades, 2 marriages, and 1 relationship in between the Costner clan is one of Hollywood's most sprawling and private families. How do you build a normal life when your father is one of the biggest movie stars on the planet and your siblings belong to an entirely different generation? The story of the Costner kids isn't one of red carpets. It's a surprising tale of low-key, independent lives. Number 7. Annie Cosner. Born in April 1984, just as her dad's career was taking off. As a little girl, Annie actually appeared on screen with her father. At age 6, she had a small role in Dances with Wolves, Kevin's Oscar-winning 1990 epic. She played a frontier settler's daughter in a brief scene. Growing up in Los Angeles with a movie star dad, Annie got an early peek at Hollywood. She even popped up in a couple of her dad's other films as a kid, like The Babysitter's Club, 1995, and The Postman, 1997, alongside her younger siblings. It seemed like Annie might follow in Kevin's acting footsteps at first. However, as she got older, Annie discovered her real passion was behind the camera. Rather than chase leading lady fame, she carved out a career as a film producer. In 2014, at just 30 years old, she co-founded her own production company called Sound Off Films. Through this company, based in California, Annie has focused on producing documentary films that tell powerful real-life stories. Some of the notable documentaries she's worked on include Katy Perry, the Witness Tour concert documentary following pop star Katy Perry the Discarded, A Tale of Two Rios, a short documentary she directed and produced in 2016, shedding light on environmental issues in Brazil, Bump and Spike, a film about the history of beach volleyball. Those are just a few examples. Annie's company has produced various projects, often with a focus on music, sports, and environmental subjects. In other words, she's made a name for herself in the documentary film world, stepping out of her dad's shadow to succeed on her own terms. In her personal life, Annie Costner is doing well. She's now in her early 40s and is happily married. In July 2016, she tied the knot with Dr. Danny Cox, a physician, in an intimate ceremony on Kevin's private estate in Carperia, California. It was a picture-perfect wedding. Proud dad Kevin walked her down the aisle. Of course, Annie and Danny have since welcomed children of their own, making Kevin a grandfather. Kevin has mentioned being a grandpa, though he's pretty private about the details. But it's widely believed Annie has given him at least 2 grandkids. These days, Annie keeps a relatively low public profile despite working in Hollywood. She isn't tabloid fodder or a social media influencer. She's a working producer, a wife, and a mom. Number 6. Lily Cosner. Born in August 1986, Lily was the adorable blonde toddler often seen in family photos with Kevin in the late 80s. Like her big sister Annie, Lily also had a taste of Hollywood early on. She made brief appearances in The Babysitter's Club, 1995, and The Postman, 1997 as a child. It became a bit of a family tradition for the Cosner kids to cameo in Dad's movies. But Lily's true passion would turn out to be music, not acting. From a young age, Lily showed she had inherited some of her father's artistic talent, just in a different form. Kevin Costner, aside from acting, is known to love music. He even leads a country rock band called Kevin Costner and Modern West. Lily clearly got the music gene too. She grew up singing and writing songs, and she has a beautiful voice. Kevin himself has gushed about how lovely her singing is. In fact, Lily pursued a path as a singer-songwriter. You won't see her courting pop star fame on MTV, but she has lent her voice to several Hollywood projects, including some of her dad's films. One of Lily's early musical accomplishments was recording a song for the movie 3,000 Miles to Grace and 2001, an action film her father starred in. Lily was only a teenager then, but her song, Every Little Thing, made it onto the soundtrack, showcasing her vocal talent. Over the years, she also contributed music to the soundtrack of Black or White 2014, a drama film Kevin headlined. Perhaps most famously, Lily performed a duet called Heaven's Gate with her father's band, which was featured on the album Tales from Yellowstone. She even appeared in an episode of Yellowstone, the TV series, to sing alongside Kevin, a special father-daughter moment on screen. It's clear Lily's singing is something Kevin is very proud of. Despite her musical gifts and the opportunities she's had to perform, Lily has deliberately kept her life low-key. She's now 39 years old. And unlike many celebrity kids, she hasn't chased the limelight or tried to become a chart-topping star. In interviews, Kevin has explained that Lily simply loves music for its own sake. But she isn't too interested in the whole fame game. He once said, "Lily is an amazing singer and songwriter. She could be a huge star if she wanted, but I'm not sure she wants that. She values equality of life. Stardom is a mystery to her." That insight from her dad really paints a picture of Lily's personality. She's described as down-to-earth and someone who values family and a normal life over glitz and glamour. So what is Lily Cosner up to these days? She continues to sing and write songs, performing occasionally, sometimes at charity events or intimate shows. For instance, she's appeared at fundraisers, lending her voice for good causes. Fans who follow her on social media might catch a snippet of her singing to her guitar at home, but she largely stays out of public view. She did serve as Miss Golden Globe in 2004, which is a title given to a celebrity's child to help hand out awards on stage at the Golden Globe Awards. A fun fact that shows she had a brush with Hollywood tradition. However, Lily never used that as a springboard for an acting or pop career. Instead, she's led a private, happy life. She reportedly splits her time between California and Colorado, enjoys the outdoors, and stays close to her family. Lily is often seen at family gatherings. For example, she was right there with her siblings in a recent photo Kevin shared of a Thanksgiving beach day in 2024. All smiles. She also steps out to support Kevin at premieres now and then. She was by his side at Horizon's Cannes premiere in 2024, looking proud. But mostly, Lily seems content to let her music do the talking when she feels like sharing it, and otherwise live life on her own terms. Number 5. Joe Cosner. Born in January 1988 in Los Angeles. Being the first son after 2 daughters, baby Joe was doted on by his parents and big sisters alike. As a kid, Joe also got a tiny taste of movie life. He appears as a little boy in Kevin's golf comedy Tin Cup 1996 and had a small part in The Postman 1997 with his sisters. So all 3 of the older Cosner kids can say their film debuts were alongside their dad. However, unlike his father, Joe didn't catch the acting bug long term. Instead, he found his calling in the technical side of filmmaking and music. As Joe grew up, it became clear he had a knack for audio and music technology. He was interested in how sound and music are made for movies and media. After finishing high school, Joe went on to attend the University of Colorado Boulder, where he studied, among other things, audio engineering. Kevin once proudly mentioned that Joe graduated from Boulder. The family has a home in Colorado, so it's a place close to their hearts. Armed with his degree and a passion for sound, Joe headed into the entertainment industry, not as an actor or a frontman, but as an audio engineer and production sound mixer. What does that mean exactly? Essentially, Joe works on the sound that you hear in films, TV, and other projects. He might be the guy on set recording the dialogue and ambient noise, or in a studio mixing different audio tracks to make everything sound just right for the final cut. It's a crucial job in film, and Joe has been steadily building a career out of the spotlight, but very much in the thick of Hollywood production. In 2021, for example, he worked as a sound recordist on a documentary series about K-pop evolution. He's also credited as a sound mixer for a couple of independent films, some still in post-production. These behind-the-scenes roles might not grab headlines, but they show that Joe has really found his niche. He's combining a love of music and tech with a family business of storytelling, just in a quieter way. Now, in his mid-30s, Joe is 37 as of 2025. Joe Cosner is described as a reserved, thoughtful guy. He largely avoids the public eye. Unlike some celebrity kids, you won't see Joe giving a ton of interviews or appearing on reality shows. That's just not his style. He lives a fairly private life, likely between California, where much of the industry is, and Colorado. Joe is also a musician at heart. It's been said he's part of a rock band as a hobby, playing guitar or bass, though not in a very public capacity. Music clearly runs in the family. Kevin has spoken fondly about Joe's character. In one interview, he noted that you can tell a lot about Joe by the quality of his friends, implying Joe surrounds himself with good people and has kept long-time friendships. Kevin also remarked that he tries to encourage Joe and all his kids to be your own person. And Joe has taken that to heart. He isn't writing on his dad's name. Many colleagues and friends see Joe as just another talented crew member, not Kevin Costner's son. That's probably exactly how Joe prefers it. In recent years, Joe has occasionally popped up in family photos at special events. In 2023, during Kevin's tumultuous year with the Yellowstone drama and his divorce in the news, Joe kept low profile, but he was there for family gatherings. He and his older sisters were at their dad's side for a private family Thanksgiving in 2024 that Kevin posted about on Instagram, for instance. And in June 2024, Joe joined Kevin at the Los Angeles premiere of Horizon: An American Saga, posing with siblings on the red carpet to support his dad's passion project. Those moments are rare, though. Most of the time, Joe is busy with his own work, quietly contributing to projects and building a solid career, doing what he loves. Number 4. Liam Costner. Not long after his divorce from Cindy, Kevin Costner's life took a turn that introduced child number 4. Liam Cosner, born in November 1996. Liam's mother is Bridget Rooney, a woman Kevin had a brief relationship with in the mid-90s. Unlike Kevin's other relationships, Kevin and Bridget never married or had a long-term partnership. Their time together was short, and Liam was born after they had already split up. This made for a bit of drama at the time. Kevin initially requested a paternity test to confirm Liam was his, which turned out positive, and then Kevin took responsibility as Liam's father. He set up a trust fund to ensure Liam would be provided for, even though Liam didn't grow up in the same household as Kevin's other kids. Liam's upbringing was quite different from his older half-siblings. For one, by the time he was born in 1996, Kevin was already a huge star, but was also a single dad, post-divorce, juggling a career and 3 kids from his first marriage. Bridget Rooney. Liam's mom comes from a very wealthy and prominent family herself. She's the niece of the late Dan Rooney, who owned the Pittsburgh Steelers NFL team. And when Liam was still a young boy, Bridget married Bill Coe, a billionaire businessman, one of the famous Coe family known for their vast industrial empire. This means Liam grew up with a stepfather who is an actual billionaire. Talk about an interesting family tree. One side Hollywood royalty, the other side American business royalty. Despite all that, Liam has stayed almost entirely out of the spotlight, now 28 years old. He's known as the most private of all Kevin Costner's children. He never pursued acting or any kind of showbiz career. In fact, many Kevin Costner fans have rarely, if ever, seen a photo of Liam. He's that good at flying under the radar. He was raised by his mom, Bridget, mostly. And given his stepdad's wealth, Liam's youth was quite privileged, but in a very different circle, more country clubs and business meetings, less Hollywood premieres, one imagines. Kevin remained a presence in Liam's life. The two have a cordial relationship, and Liam is acknowledged as part of the extended Cosner family. But he wasn't in the public eye with Kevin much. So what happened to Liam Cosner as he grew up? He decided to chart a path that had nothing to do with show business. Liam moved to Florida and went into the world of luxury real estate. Yes, he's a real estate professional, helping buy and sell high-end properties in the Palm Beach area. It makes sense. That career aligns more with the circles of his mother and stepfather. By his mid-20s, Liam got his real estate license and began working with a firm that specializes in luxury homes, the kind millionaires and billionaires buy. By all accounts, he's been doing well in that field. He's described as ambitious, yet low-key, the kind of guy who can network at a country club, but also values his privacy a great deal. In addition to real estate, Liam has dabbled in other business roles. There was mention of him working with an investment firm and even a ski resort company for a stint, suggesting he's exploring life as a young professional in various arenas. Number 3. Caden Wyatt Cosner. After almost a decade of bachelor life, Kevin Costner found love again with model-turned-handbag designer Christine Baumgartner. They married in 2004, and Christine wanted to start a family with Kevin. Initially, Kevin was hesitant. He was in his 50s and had already raised 4 kids. The idea of starting over with diapers and midnight feedings made him nervous. But as Kevin later said, he woke up one day and realized he didn't want to lose an amazing woman like Christine just because he was afraid of having more children. So he embraced the idea, and soon enough came child number 5, Caden Wyatt Cosner, born in May 2007 in Los Angeles. Caden's birth marked a new chapter for Kevin. He was 52 years old, experiencing fatherhood again from the beginning. A little older, maybe a little wiser. Kevin jokingly admitted that being an older dad had its advantages. With a laugh, he once said, "I can fake like I'm asleep longer, so I don't have to do as many diapers." But in truth, Kevin was deeply committed to doing it all over again. He also confessed to some fears. He worried about having enough energy for a young child at his age. And even more profoundly, he feared not living long enough to see Caden grow up to manhood. "My fundamental fear," Kevin said at the time, "is that someone else will raise him if my life ends prematurely. I won't get to coach him on what it is to be a man. I want to be the one to tell him about life." Those heartfelt words showed just how important being there for Caden was to Kevin. With those concerns in mind, Kevin made sure to be an active father despite his busy career. Little Caden often traveled with mom and dad, and even as a baby, he was exposed to Kevin's love of music. Kevin noted when Caden was 1 year old that the toddler already had a couple of toy guitars and loved sitting on his dad's lap listening to the band play. "He likes a good beat," Kevin chuckled. "Who knows, maybe Caden will be jamming on a real guitar in a few years." It wouldn't be surprising given the musical streak in the family. Caden became a big brother in short order. Christine and Kevin welcomed 2 more kids in the following years, so he grew into the role of protective older sibling as well. There's a funny anecdote. When Christine was pregnant with their second child, they tried to prepare 1-year-old Caden by showing him the new baby's bassinet. Little Caden responded by chucking his toys into it, perhaps marking his territory. It gave everyone a laugh, and Kevin realized you can't fully prep a toddler for a new baby. But Caden adjusted just fine when his brother Haze arrived. Fast forward to today. Caden Cosner is 18 years old and has just stepped into adulthood. In June 2025, he graduated from high school, an event that brought the entire Cosner clan together. Kevin was incredibly proud to have all of his kids under one roof celebrating Caden's graduation. A big milestone for his eldest son of the second marriage. So what is Caden like as an 18-year-old? He's been described as a polite, thoughtful young man. Physically, he's the spitting image of a younger Kevin, tall, with a similar smile, which fans noted when Kevin started bringing him to public events. Indeed, in recent years, Caden has begun accompanying his father to some red carpet events, giving the public a rare glimpse of him. For instance, in 2024, Caden got to put on a tuxedo and join Kevin at the Cannes Film Festival premiere of Horizon, an American Saga, the big Western epic Kevin directed and starred in. Imagine being 17 and walking the Cannes red carpet with your movie star dad. Talk about a cool dadson moment. Caden also attended the Venice Film Festival in 2025 for the sequel Horizon Chapter 2. It seems Kevin is happily including Caden in these experiences now that he's old enough to appreciate them. One challenge Caden did face recently was his parents' split. In 2023, Christine filed for divorce from Kevin, which turned into quite a media spectacle for a while. It's never easy for a teenager to see their parents go through a breakup, especially under public scrutiny. Reports say that Caden, along with Haze and Grace, initially stayed with their mom as things were being settled, but Kevin fought hard to maintain a stable presence in their lives. By 2024, the divorce was finalized, and Kevin and Christine agreed to co-parent their 3 kids. Kevin has mentioned that co-parenting teenaged kids can be tricky, but he's been through it before with his older children, and he's determined to do it right. He said the key is just keep talking and stay interested in what they're interested in. From all appearances, Cayden has handled the changes well and remains close to both mom and dad. Now, as a young man, Cayden is likely figuring out his next steps, whether that's college work or some other pursuit. Number 2. Haze Logan Cosner, born in February 2009. As Kevin and Christine's second child together, baby Haze arrived when Kevin was 54 years old, firmly establishing Kevin as an older dad with a young household. Haze was named with a nod to Kevin's love of the American West. In fact, Kevin has revealed that Haze is the surname of a cowboy character he was developing for a Western story at the time, which eventually became the film Horizon. So Haze literally got his name from one of Dad's characters' destiny, perhaps, that he'd be tied into Kevin's Western epic later on. From the start, Haze has been a bundle of energy. Kevin joked in interviews that having a young son in his 50s kept him young too, because he had to be running around to Little League games and school events instead of taking it easy. Haze grew up on a sprawling estate. The Cosners have a ranch-style property and had a pretty regular childhood by all accounts. Kevin could often be seen in the stands at Haze baseball games cheering him on. They tried to get Haze on the same sports teams as Cayden to simplify schedules, which meant Haze sometimes had to play with slightly older kids, but he held his own. Kevin laughed that one day Haze might ask, "Why was I always forced to play up in bigger leagues?" But it seems Haze didn't mind. He loved sports. As he got a bit older, Haze also took up volleyball in high school. Picture a tall, athletic kid with a competitive streak. That's Haze. Of course, when your dad is Kevin Costner, normal life also includes some not-so-normal experiences. Haze attended his first Hollywood movie premiere at the tender age of 6 when the whole family went to the premiere of Disney's McFarland USA film Kevin starred in 2015. Little Haze walked the red carpet with Dad, Mom, and his siblings Grace and Cayden, looking a bit wide-eyed at all the cameras. It was an early taste of glitz, but Kevin and Christine made sure the kids weren't overexposed to the spotlight. They'd come out for Dad's big events occasionally, but otherwise it was school and playgrounds, like any other kid. A major highlight in Haze's story came with the production of Horizon, an American saga, Kevin's passion project Western film series that he finally started filming around 2022 to 2023. By this time, Haze was around 14 and curious about what his father was up to on those long location shoots. Kevin made a sentimental decision. He cast Haze in a small role in the first Horizon film. It wasn't a case of trying to launch Haze as the next child star, but rather Kevin wanting his son by his side during this big project. As Kevin admitted, he did it a bit selfishly so they could hang out together on set for a couple of weeks. Haze, for his part, was thrilled. He got to dress up in period costume learn lines and be directed by his dad. A pretty awesome father-son bonding experience. When Horizon premiered at the Cannes Film Festival in 2024, Haze found himself in an unbelievable situation. Walking the red carpet at Cayden in a dapper suit with the film's cast and, of course, his dad. Not many 15-year-olds can say their first acting role premiered at Cannes. During the screening, the film received a standing ovation that lasted an incredible 11 minutes. Kevin became emotional, even tearing up. Later, he shared that his kids, including Haze, were a bit startled to see him cry because they'd never seen him so overwhelmed. For Kevin, having Haze and 4 of his other children there to witness that career pinnacle was completely fulfilling. Haze apparently did a great job in the film, too. Kevin joked that although Haze was very good, the real victory was the time they got to spend together. Haze has mentioned, in a rare interview on the red carpet no less, that working with his dad was so fun and that Kevin taught him a lot during filming. He said it was amazing to watch Kevin not just as a dad, but as a director, and to be part of creating a movie together. For a kid who grew up mostly seeing his father as just dad, that experience of seeing him in action on set must have been eye-opening. Now 16 years old, Haze is back to his regular life of being a teenager. He's continued with school and sports. It's unclear if he has the acting itch after Horizon. He might, or it might just remain a cool memory. Kevin has been careful not to push any of his kids into acting unless they're really keen. Given Haze's outgoing nature, though, who knows, he might pop up in more school plays or local theater if it interests him. For now, Haze is often seen spending quality time with his dad. Paparazzi have caught glimpses of Kevin taking Haze and Grace to basketball games or the family skiing in Aspen in the winter holidays. Haze is growing into a fine young man, tall, athletic, and polite. People who have met the family often remark that the Cosner kids, Haze included, seem surprisingly down-to-earth and well-mannered for having such a famous father. That's a credit to how Kevin and Christine raised them. Number 1. Grace Avery Cosner, born in June 2010. She arrived as Kevin and Christine's third child, completing their family. Kevin was 55 when Grace was born, and he finally had another baby girl after raising 3 older daughters and 3 sons. Kevin has frequently called Grace his girly girl, a nickname that captures her personality perfectly. As the baby of the family, Grace has enjoyed a slightly different experience than even her brothers. By the time Grace was a toddler, Kevin's career had seen a resurgence with TV's Hatfields and McCoys, and later Yellowstone. But he was also spending more time at home, in between projects, to be with his young kids. Grace grew up doted on by her parents and adored by her older siblings, who were mostly teenagers or adults by then. Imagine being a little girl with so many older brothers and sisters. She always had someone to play with or look up to. One cute anecdote speaks volumes about Grace's life around her dad's movie work. When she was about 5 years old, Kevin was preparing for a role in the action thriller Criminal 2016 and had to cut his hair in a very harsh short style. Little Grace saw her dad with this drastic haircut at a school PTA meeting and was concerned. She looked at her mom and asked, "Daddy's been fighting again, huh?" The family had to explain to her that sometimes Daddy looks different because of movie roles. Grace and her brothers got used to seeing Kevin transform his appearance for films. By now, Grace can probably tell what kind of project her dad is working on just by his haircut or whether he has a beard. Grace's interests lean more towards the artistic and creative rather than sports, while her brothers would be tossing a football or playing catch. Grace might be indoors, drawing sewing little crafts or dancing around the living room. Kevin once shared that if a ball bounces into Grace's vicinity, she'll run out and join her brothers for a bit. She can't resist being part of the fun. But soon enough, she'll declare it's time to play her way, which means everything stops for her dance performance or whatever she's into at the moment. Being the youngest and the only little girl in the house means she often gets to call the shots during playtime. By all accounts, Grace is a bright, spunky kid with a touch of princess flair and tomboy energy mixed together. Even though Grace is not into sports like Haze or Cayden, she's had her share of big adventures. She's traveled with her family to filming locations, visited her dad on set, and attended events. One of her first big public appearances was when she was just 4 or 5 at the McFarland USA premiere in 2015. Dressed in a cute little outfit, she held her dad's hand, probably not fully aware of what the red carpet meant, but enjoying the lights and excitement. More recently, in 2019, the entire Cosner family went to the premiere of The Art of Racing in the Rain. Another Kevin film, and Grace, around 9 at the time, was there posing with Dad, Mom, and her brothers, clearly growing more accustomed to these star-studded occasions. Now, 15 years old, Grace is in her mid-teens and starting high school. It's a time of change for any kid, and for Grace it's no different. Except she had the added change of her parents' divorce during her early teen years. Out of all the children, Grace is the one who's still a minor for a few more years. So Kevin and Christine are very careful to keep her world as stable as possible. She splits time between Mom's and Dad's homes after the divorce settlement. But Kevin makes sure Grace always feels at home wherever she is. He's talked about designing his homes to be places his kids love to return to, filled with things like horseback riding trails, swimming pools, and cozy family spaces. Grace, being the youngest, will be enjoying that home environment the longest of all the kids. Grace hasn't shown an interest in acting or singing publicly. And given her age, there's plenty of time to decide if she wants to explore that. Right now, she seems focused on typical teenage girl things. School friends, maybe a new hobby like learning an instrument or continuing her dance if she's stuck with dance classes from childhood. Kevin, protective as ever, doesn't put Grace in the spotlight. She's only photographed when she's with him at events. One such event was the after-party at Cayden in 2024 for Horizon, where Grace got all dressed up and accompanied her dad and siblings. She saw firsthand her father getting a standing ovation and even got to witness him tearing up in pride. 7 children, 3 decades, and one of the biggest shadows in Hollywood. So in the end, what is Kevin Costner's legacy? The story of the 7 Cosner children provides a surprising and compelling answer. That legacy isn't an acting dynasty. It's not about inherited faces on the red carpet or scandals on tabloid covers. Kevin Costner's true legacy is quietness. It's Annie who chose to be behind the camera instead of in front of it. It's Lily who possesses a beautiful voice but chooses to sing for herself instead of for the crowds. It's Joe who found his passion in sound engineering, and Liam, the most private of all, who chose a completely different path in business. And now that legacy is being continued in the second generation, where Caden, Haze, and Grace are being raised with the same core value, that fame is their father's job, not their identity. They have proven that it's possible to grow up with the Costner name without being swallowed by it. And that perhaps is Kevin's greatest achievement.